The 2003 murder of a Colorado woman baffled investigators for nearly a decade. The prime suspects, her husband and his identical twin brother. And that's not the only twist. As 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty reports, the killing was carried out with the help of watching a TV show.
The police were saying that they were doing what they could, and after a while, you just think, is anything ever going to happen?
Rebecca Barger was frustrated. Years after her sister Heather DeWild was murdered, there were still no arrests, even though Rebecca was certain who was responsible.
I just instantly knew he did something to her.
You were sure it was Dan?
Mm-hmm.
Dan is Dan DeWild, Heather's soon-to-be ex-husband. The two were in the middle of a bitter divorce when Heather stopped by his house with her children to pick up insurance cards. It was the summer of 2003. Heather was never seen alive again. The kids, only 3 and 5 years old, couldn't say where their mother had gone. Was there any sign of a murder weapon in the house?
No, there was not.
Any blood?
No, there was not.
Denver Police Detective Mark Kreider assisted in the investigation. Any sign that Heather had been in there or been killed in there?
No, there was no sign of that at all.
6 weeks after Heather disappeared, a road worker discovered her body. Bound with rope and wrapped in plastic bags, Heather's death was ruled a homicide. Investigators were convinced Dan DeWild was behind the killing and that he had help, his identical twin brother David. They were both living in the house where Heather disappeared, but there was zero physical evidence to connect them to her murder. And let's be honest, Detective, it really does look like they're going to get away with this.
Oh, absolutely.
It took more than 8 years, but prosecutor Robert Weiner was finally able to get an indictment. You still have a pretty weak case.
Yeah. You know, the autopsy report didn't say how she died.
We don't even know where she died.
No.
Dan and David DeWild were both arrested for Heather's murder, and that's when investigators learned how the two brothers had managed to erase all evidence of the crime.
They were watching crime shows, the CSI type shows, any crime shows that they could watch and learn. So they double gloved. They had 2 sets of gloves on because they didn't want to leave any trace evidence. They didn't want to leave blood.
We got nothing. Nobody cleans a car this good.
With no forensic evidence tying either man to the crime, investigators had to get one twin to turn on the other. Would it mean a pact with the devil?
Ooh, Erin Moriarty joins us at the table. That's kind of creepy.
It is
and
creepy.
I like CSI. I don't want it giving people ideas. What they see.
Well, and I actually have to say, I think people get ideas from all these shows. I mean,
It's
it made
true.
me start thinking about with 48, because we like to show cutting-edge science. I mean, I think the one that disturbed me the most was the idea they watched and they knew to hit her once. I hadn't really thought about it. It's the second time that you get blood spatter and wearing double gloves. I had no idea. You can trace scissors, so they're using disposable razors.
So how did the fact that they were identical twins complicate things?
Well, they thought that one of them did it, and each twin was pointing the finger at the other, but they have the exact same DNA. And so if you found DNA at the scene, that's not helping you at all, right?
Very interesting. Thanks.
And you're a twin, too.
I am a twin. I know. I think that's one of the reasons why I picked this, because I kept wondering whether, all right, if you have exact same DNA, does that mean you have the same murderous instincts? Are your thoughts the same?
Fascinating.
All right, Erin Moriarty.
Thanks, Erin.
We thank you.